All right, everybody, welcome back to the FAU Owls Nest. I am Jacob Kelly. We have just watched the FAU Owls complete their first victory of the season, Week 1 here against Monmouth, defeating them 42-20. It was not a perfect game, but it was a game that definitely showed some upside, especially on the offensive side of things. And we'll go right into things looking at the box score, looking at the FAU offense. I was asking for at the end of the live stream for Dan Richardson to get in. He did get in there for a little bit. Didn't really amount to much, but the biggest storyline is Casey Thompson and how he played in his first game as an Owl, coming out 20 of 25, 280 yards, 5 touchdowns. Did have the 1 interception, but overall, a very solid performance by Casey Thompson in his first game here with the Owls. Seemed to have a really good chemistry already with all of his top receivers getting each of his best receivers, each of the best receivers from last season that have returned into the end zone. Tony Johnson, the man you see on the thumbnail, is the leading receiver of the day. Finished with 5 catches, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including that beautiful 72-yard touchdown where he caught the ball cutting in around 15 yards down the middle of the field and was able to make a man miss and get into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day. Jaquan Burton, 3 catches, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns also himself. And LeJontay Wester, 6 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. The rushing game was just as strong as the passing attack was. We saw a very balanced attack throughout the entire game, 280 yards in the air from Thompson, 213 yards total on the ground from those rushing the ball. Larry McCammon, 13 carries, 125 yards, 9.6 yards per carry. We were talking about how Jaden Sheridan last year nearly averaged a first down per play. Well, Larry McCammon did that and then some, just about getting to that point, 9.6 per attempt. Zaviri Mobley, 15 carries for 49 yards, 3.3 carry. LeJontay Wester had 1 long rush for 21 yards. Casey Thompson was also able to scramble a few times, 3 times for 18 yards. Looking at Monmouth, Marquez McCray had himself an up-and-down day, 249, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The ground game, Jaden Sheridan, who was the biggest point of emphasis to hold, FAU only allowed 66 yards. This is a man who last year had 1,700 yards from, 1,700 yards on the ground. He only had 2 catches all of last year, and I believe he had 3 today, so he already eclipsed his total catches. However, on the ground, 2.8 yards a carry compared to the 8.4 that we saw from him last season was a fantastic job by this defensive front from FAU, which we knew going into was the strong suit of the defense, the defensive line led by Evan Anderson. Dymere Miller, 10 catches, 78 yards, did not get the end zone. Monmouth got into the end zone 3 separate times. Son Nato, sorry if I mispronounced that, got in the end zone. And then 2 through the air. Asante Kearney and Dre Tucker both getting a touchdown. It was not a perfect performance by any means by this Owls team on both sides of the ball. Casey Thompson had himself an interception. Larry McCammon fumbled the ball where he was just fighting for extra yards, trying to get closer to the end zone, fumbled it. They take over at the 5-yard line. It wasn't perfect, but when you come out Week 1, new head coach, new quarterback, it was about as perfect as it could have been. The defense still leaves some question marks, but a solid performance by them. They had themselves a couple turnovers, at least one. I think one total turnover the FAU defense got. Jackson Ambush led the team in total tackles. Evan Anderson had his 6, as well as 1 tackle for loss. He got himself a sack earlier on in the ball game. It wasn't a very pretty game. It at times was like the offense was humming when it was humming, but there was definitely moments where the game dragged on a little bit. But my biggest takeaway is FAU just needs to continue to find a way to get the ball in the hands of all these skill position players. We've been talking all offseason now about how the likes of Larry McCammon, Tony Johnson, LeJontay Wester, Jaquan Burton, Kobe Lewis when he comes back, Zaviri Mobley today. There is just so many great weapons for this FAU offense, and all those guys I mentioned, except for Kobe Lewis, were all with the team last year, but the offense was not able to get the ball in their hands as much as they needed to. Today, the ball was spread out. There was about as even as a representation as you could imagine between all of those guys. You look between your 3 leading receivers, Tony Johnson with 5 catches, Jaquan with 3, LeJontay with 6, Larry with 4 out of the backfield. A very spread around offensive attack. Larry Cammon was actually out-carried by Zaviri Mobley. Zaviri had 15, Larry had 13. Larry was just able to take advantage of his a little bit better than Zaberi was. But we've been talking about the questions as to how this team is going to get the ball in the hands of all of its playmakers. And today, when it mattered, when it was a live reps, live game, they were able to do so with great success. And I expect that to continue for this offense. Defense, they definitely have a few things they need to work on, but it was by no means a bad defensive performance. A couple 3-and-outs, a couple turnovers, a good response after FAU turned the ball over, getting a turnover on downs the very next drive, and then the very next play, Casey Thompson hits Tony Johnson for that long 72-yard touchdown I was talking about earlier. So the defense definitely had itself some bright points, but we knew going into this game that the offense should shine. And with Monmouth being one of the top FCS offenses in all the country, again, 7 games last year of plus 35 points, averaged 36.4 points last year, we knew they were going to put up points. This is a team that FAU is expected to beat, but is not your prototypical FCS opponents. They can play. They have some talented guys on this roster, one of the best rushers in all of college football last year coming into this game, and FAU holds him to 66 yards. That is impressive. That is something that we will look to continue, build momentum on as we go over to week 2 against Ohio. I'm very excited for this next matchup as FAU has the opportunity to go up 2-0, nearly already half of their win total from what they saw last year, and then Clemson. So these 2 warm-up games should prove to be very strong performances for that Clemson game where, yes, FAU is definitely heavy underdogs going into that, but if you can build some positive momentum going into that game, anything can happen, and I feel very good about leaving this game how they did. Again, FAU defeating Monmouth 42-20. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. It was a great live stream. We had around 250 of you guys pop in throughout the live stream. We're going to do the very same thing next week, except JJ is going to be able to join, Lord willing, as long as he gets better, going to be able to join me. So there will see a 2-man group in here. But till then, that's it for me. Jacob Kelly, this is FAU Owls Net. Again, Nest, please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and also go check over FAUOwlsNest.com for a plethora of amazing written content that is going to be written short to come following this game if you need more of your FAU football satisfaction filled. So again, thank you all very much for watching. This is Jacob Kelly, FAU Owls Nest. Make sure to have a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody.